Welcome to another edition of the Joy Business Special, and today we'll be speaking to Dr. Prince Kofi Klugeson, who is the executive chairman, let me put it that way, of Celtel Networks Limited. The reason why we have him again is that we've seen progress in the last interview that we had with him as to the plans that Celtel has, especially when it comes to the Smart Cities project, or I would say the Smart Communities project. And we also understand that they are looking at manufacturing from the scratch, mobile devices, you're talking of electronic devices of all kinds in this country. And that is good news for us. He'll be telling us more. And then also they have signed an MOU with an advisory firm that is in terms of management. They are supposed to help, become the transactional advisors for the $500 million. If you remember that we spoke about the last time we had an interview with him, these monies are in, but you need the transactional advisors to help and manage the disbursement of these funds. We're going to be speaking to him. 2020 is going to be a good year, we're told, even though it's an election year, and we're hoping that he will help in increasing the employment numbers for this country. And he's joined us today to throw more light and also educate you and I. And if you are probably looking for a job, he's the man I'm going to look at. Of course, he will give you something. That is if you have the technical know-how, let me put it. Thank you very much, Dr. Klugeson, for joining us again.
Merry Christmas.
Sure. It's the Christmas season.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
It's good to see you. Let me just try and find out from you. The last time we met, we spoke about these smart cities. Where have we got into with this?
Okay, when you talk about smart cities, in Ghana, I think the buzzword really that needed to be used, I'm sure it's communities. Yes, what we have reached about that one is what happened, yesterday. It's been a long road, almost spanning over 3 years. Various things has to happen before we got where we are. Today, almost all the I's and the T's, has crossed. But my major happiness is that this little idea of vision has attracted a lot of major, major companies in the world in technology, manufacturing, and other allied, to partner with us, to be able to move it forward. It became more, important when Ghana won the right, to headquarters the African Continental Trade Pact in Ghana. So it now turned out to be an African project, Ghana being the headquarters. Yeah, one of the major problems, if you don't understand, when we began this mobile phone business in 1994 and all of the matters arising, it was then a mobile issue getting into the system. But it's moved on now to a digital age where, and I believe this whole thing is happening because of the power of the youth, the power and the knowledge base of the youth, who are no more relying anymore on what they call natural, resources, which African nations are relying more on. So we move on, and then I think where we are now, we are the French at the edge of it, and then we're going to be making a lot of engagement now with the ministry, of communication and its allied agencies. To see how we can plug, into it. Because a lot of things happening at the Vice President Office, the Minister of Communication, but the policies that have to drive it, I believe that somewhere down the line, that should be the land to see a handshake, and then we can be able to move on from there.
I see. So you signed an MOU with ED&Co
Yes.
Partners. I mean, for them to become transactional advisors.
Yeah.
I remember that the last interview that we had, you talked about some $500 million funding.
Yes.
What exactly is the role of ED&Co in the scheme of things?
Okay, in the ED&Co, in the scheme, one of the major, absence in Ghana is major what they call investment bankers, in Ghana. We have the Security and Exchange Commission here that issued licenses, but yet they call it, mostly fund management, which brought almost all these issues that happened to them. They trade funds from here to here, from here to here. But if you realize most of these countries, or this company, is manned by the stock exchange. The stock exchange is where the whole thing happens. The transaction. We are business people. We are not in finance. Now, if you want to go into most of it's only in Ghana that mobile phone, companies go by cash, go and buy a scratch card or whatever it is.
Pay as you go.
Pay as you go, whatever you call it. Now mobile money is becoming the thing of the day. We have decided that this business must be Ghanaian equity funded. Monies must be raised. And then there's, the solution must be Ghanaian. This was one of the issues and it's possible. And if you look at one of the major policies that are affecting Ghana today, is a year of return.
Year of return.
The year of return, if you really know the number of people who are coming, the value that it's created to Ghana in terms of monetary terms or revenue terms is large. Whether you like it or not, the planes arrive at the airport. The first thing that they do is they pick up their phones, they pick up their tablets, they want to be connected. They don't pay anything to anybody, but they pay somebody, before they arrive in Ghana. So those transaction advisors, or like Goldman Sachs, we call them the big names,
yes,
Blackstone or whatever it is. So this is what ED and Co represent, for us in this transaction.
In my mind, I was thinking, okay, you've already gotten certain commitments in terms of funding. Is it that you are bringing them in to help you raise additional funding and even help prepare you if you ever consider to land you on the Ghana Stock Exchange?
All the above. Well, we have a lot of commitment to funding for this project all over. Some people committing $150 million, $50 million. Every day we get a lot of commitments, $200-300 million. What is available for this business is funding. What is not available is the ability for somebody to do it. That is the problem we have in Africa. You see, if you look at Africa today, the only name you hear all of a sudden is our brother Dangote in Nigeria. Dangote.
And today you're hearing the wonderful things that is being done in Rwanda.
In Rwanda and whatever. So the Rwanda story, sometimes when I hear it, I like not to worry too much about it. But we started from Ghana. I chaired some of those programs many years ago. Well, I approached Asante Hene. I said, look, now we need to do something here, And he listened to us, so we took a delegation for Acquah-Hayford to go and meet with them. Now we have about 20 young ladies also in Kumasi, under our program, So we did a program first with Oracle Godep. Government has a Godep, which is plugged in at the Golden Tulip.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So they all came and presented their, whatever they developed. So we picked about 4 of them. One of the ladies now developed an app for rider services, all the things that you're talking about now. When the Indian engineers came, they realized that Ghana has a big opportunity for riders, local riders. In India, they call it Ola. It's bigger than the Ubers that you see in the local.
I see.
So we began that journey. So one of our young ladies developed that app. We'll soon be commissioned that one. It's going to test and evaluated by our international partners. Now, one of the things I keep on explaining to people, what about MTN? It's not about that. Now, Google, Facebook, these companies, when you press the button, you don't pay them any money. But you're using internet. Where do they get their connectivity from? They get their connectivity. So the likes like the Vodafone and MTN are those who are supposed to back companies like ours.
Okay, in terms of providing
whatever I needed. Ghana has so much facility. Google has metro fiber in Accra, Kumasi, and Tema. They stopped because there are no businesses, in those other communities. Now, most of the people in Ghana today, all of us have been focusing on the corporate market, not the consumer market or the liberal market. All of a sudden, there's a free SHS. What do? There are 1.2 million people we heard are in free SHS today.
Yeah.
And 2-3 years, they're going to hit the tertiary and then hit the market.
But let me just bring you, let's stay with this KGTR thing. First, I will ask you to tell us, which communities you have profiled so far, which means that you've probably profiled Kumasi, and then you're looking at KGTR. But I'm looking at the KGTR project, and I'm asking myself that my mother or my auntie who owns a shop there and sells cloth, or probably selling tomatoes. Most of these people are not educated, really. You got to put internet there. How are they going to use it?
Okay. This whole thing, again, is about education. Like I said, the biggest pillar about this whole thing is about education. Now, don't forget, those who are in this business, they are not educated. They pick them from India, the villages of India, Africa, and they send them to Silicon Valley, and then they become somebody. If you look at the technology company today, almost about 80% of them, the CEOs are Indians. When they came there many years ago, they were not educated. So you have Harvard, you have MIT, you have Stanford, who stepped in to do all these issues. Celtel Networks, when you come to the building, on the 10th floor, we are also putting a big academy there. Okay. A big academy there, that will be linking up the whole country. You're going to put containers in every district capital, all Wi-Fi enabled with computers in there. So training is going to begin. Many years ago, when I began this business of my life with HP, we did the same thing, and we retrained the whole of the civil servants, in there. So today, all that is needed to is critical thinking. Now, we belong to, through, our strategist, Chief Technology Officer, Faisal, how we managed to get engaged, enrolled into what we call ORAN, the networks of the world, which is Facebook, everybody are. So we are now a member of the world standards of all these companies.
I don't have a feeling that you're going to probably even ask owners of these shops or people who are selling within the KJTR market, because now it's an ultra-modern market they are putting in there to have a website and have their products and their information in there. So I can sit in Santasi and go to the KJTR website and say, shop number 2, I want to buy this, and then they'll deliver
all
to
they
me.
need is POS systems, all they need is a POS. So our team in Kumasi are involved in developing, all those apps that are required for them. Don't forget, they are not those who need it, it's we those who to buy needs it. So what they need is POS. So we are creating a POS, cloud strategy, a part of the business.
Okay.
So every trader will now have a POS.
How many other cities or
we have
towns
profile about 25 as a priority.
Profiled, or have you profiled?
We have profiled, immediately. Acquah, Cocoa Board has a, CSI. They have, Interfo. Areas
yes.
One of the major, research centers. So the whole Acquah is profiled. Ablekuma, the whole Ablekuma is profiled.
In Accra here?
Accra here,
Okay.
because of Kolebu.
Okay.
Now, Kolebu has about 10,000 people in that enclave. I think that happens to be on minister's, constituency as well, Ablekuma. So the Mamprobi Post Office will be our staging, center to connect all those area. Now, when you get to Kolebu, for instance, a very, very unique place. Kolebu, apart from just, treating us with whatever, Kolebu has about 2 million people who come there every year. That come to that enclave every year. There are about 700 or 800 cars that park there every day.
Oh, that's a lot of statistics you've got there.
And then in that enclave, Kolebu alone, there plus about 5,000 to 6,000. If you add the University of Ghana Medical School, the necessary training, we're talking about 10,000 in that enclave alone. Most of the people live there. They don't have good connectivity there. Now, today in medicine, everything there is telemedicine.
Okay.
Everything there is about telemedicine.
Yeah.
So it's not about digital or whatever you call it. People must go. If you look at the justice system, the courts.
Yeah.
There's something called e-justice.
E-justice.
Do not forget, the courts are all over the districts. All over the district. Now, if you put a judge there, the judges must have smart TV and connectivity at home.
And appeals court is not in all the regions.
Yeah, so maybe, but the judges, magistrate, all the way they are there. But the workers are almost about 25 to 30,000 as well, all over the. Now, see, the problem in this country today is looking at only the institutions. I think most of the problem about revenue, GRA, is not the institution, but the staff who runs the clearing agents. They're the most powerful revenue generators for GRA. Okay, fine. When you put the GCNet there, what does it do? Somebody must press a button to be able to do something. Now, most of the clearing agents and even the staff, they don't have good devices. Now, see, when you buy these devices, the phones, you put your SIM card in MTN or Vodafone. That's where it ends. But then when you finish, you see something, 10 again. In all the devices, almost about 1 million to 2 million applications in them. You can download whatever you want to download to each application. You probably pay $1 or $2 for it or whatever it is. So most of the things that are key for this business is devices, for the end user. Now, that's why you see Apple and Samsung, they thrive in this big business. The leaders of this business is devices. Computers, smartphones, tablets, and laptops. These are the 4 major devices.
Yeah, so you mentioned you mentioned having profiled some parts of Accra.
Yes.
You've done some part of the Volta region. Any in the Western region?
We have Takrady.
You have Takrady. Now when we go to you have Secondary.
We have Kaswa. We have Mamprusi. West Mamprusi.
West Mamprusi. The Vice President's area.
Is that his area?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
We have West Mamprusi. There are projects going to be Gonja East.
Okay.
Gonja West.
You go to the Gonja land. That is the former President John Mahama's area.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, the Gonja land.
And then you have Holy City Have,
Okay.
profile. Then we have Hohoi.
Hohoi.
And then we have OT. We have this thing. But a major smart city, which will be the first, is Tema.
Tema is the first place you're looking at.
Yeah.
When will they come? Would they go live?
Oh, we are looking at between our second quarter next year.
Second quarter next year,
yeah.
Tema will go live.
Yeah.
Which means that will begin the rollout of the projects.
Yeah.
You know, so from Tema we'll move where?
Yeah. Okay, we have. If you look at the project, we have 3 teams. We have Volta Region and Greater Accra.
Okay.
You know, and then now if you go to Adenta, area, and you look at University of Ghana, and then you look at Bemakam, they fall under 3 municipalities.
Okay.
You know, like the Kotopon, which has Bemakam, the University of Ghana at La Quantanang, and then Adenta. You know, so those enclaves, who are 3, are huge major because our airport is there, our Bema camp is there,
yes.
University of Ghana is there. So these enclaves are one of the major areas,
So from Tema you come to this big 3.
From our office, it's even easier to go by line of sight to cover all those areas.
All those areas.
Yeah, and then we have a teaching man, we have Kitampo. You know, if you go to Kitampo, teaching man, there's University of Health and Nursing. We have Uniba, has 65,000 students. You know, the distance learning.
Great. Somebody is watching and is asking that, okay, so you are not MTN, you are not Airtel Tigo, you are not Vodafone, neither are you Glo. So you're going to provide Wi-Fi. How are you doing it? And is it for free? If it's not, what will be the process in getting hooked to it?
See,
or who pays for it?
Okay, when you go to anywhere in the world, in the US, we have only 3 companies: Sprint, Verizon, and AT&T.
Yeah.
Now, they are in UJC there. But when you go to, you see cricket all over the place. Now, infrastructure is there. You know, we don't even have to worry too much about MTN or Vodafone. They don't have the type of infrastructure that project needs. Grateful had infrastructure right there.
Okay.
You know, university, the ECG had infrastructure right there. So these things are no more the old, mentality of mobile phone, MTN, or Vodafone. No. They have their space in the business world. Now, so what you need, is already available.
In terms of the towers?
Yeah.
That we use
towers,
in firing?
If you really need towers, Helios.
Okay.
I get it. So it's not a major issue. What is there? These things are all apps, application, and regulations. So, what really is left really to be done is engaging Mr. Communication finally to find out where. I think NITA might be leading this when it comes to the government.
I was just going to ask you because NITA already is out there, yes, also trying to make sure they push internet, yes, into villages and towns that are not already hooked.
Yes. NITA would lead this, and then you have GIFEC that's trying to do something rural.
GIFEC as well, yeah. The GIFEC
so all these are agencies that either will ride at their back or will collaborate with them, or if they don't have, we'll build. We'll find out these are things that have to be sorted out. We are focusing on the strategy. We are focusing on what needed to be done. We are focusing on the space that we need to as a private sector company.
So who pays for it then? Who pays for the cost in terms of making sure that there's Wi-Fi on the streets here? So let's say on the Kokomemle street, Fanofa Street, who would pay for the internet that will be there? I mean, how do I get hooked to it?
The infrastructure will be built by Celta Networks.
Yes.
Okay, our company. The users will be, Norman, from, will come here, a letter to your HR and inform you that this thing will be here at this time. And then no one is interested, you fill a form,
sign up,
whatever you want. And then when, it's approved through AD Capital, they come and do the evaluation, and then you are approved. We don't want to get involved with, what happens in those areas. So our job is to build the infrastructure, conform the regulation in the country, and make sure that it is there.
Let me now ask you this question. I mean, you are doing this Smart Communities project, and one will say, why don't you concentrate on that? What is the business of wanting to go into, producing or manufacturing electronic devices? And trying to set up a factory in Accra or in Ghana?
It is not us. It is the business module that brought it. Don't forget. It's only
you took advantage of a business model.
I did not. The other partners who are coming in saw the need to do it. Because don't forget, this telephone thing happened. I think I was there. One of them in India sent me a link by my minister, Esola, I think sometime last year, when he indicated that she wishes that by the year 2020, all Ghanaians will have smartphones.
Yes. I
You know, this is what, and then it was a link sent from India, by one of our, engineers called Jaluta. So he said, oh, we can do this. And I said, okay, let's be. So one thing led to the other. Today we had a major visitation, one of the companies that plugged in, that they would do it. And then another one for smart TVs. It is not we as a company that want to do that. It's all the consortium partners that are coming. That are coming. So this one want to do this one want to do this.
You want to put it on the One District, One Factory?
Yeah, obviously.
You want to partner with the Ministry of Trade?
That is of course, this project partners with everybody. Because the community belongs to government. There's a mayor there, the chief executive there. So, there'll be that collaboration. In fact, there was a government delegation, appointed by the president. Last year we went to the U.S. led by the Minister of Local Government. Haja herself. So when I go there, I was teasing Mr. Honorable Obiama that he's the richest member of parliament in Ghana today. He said, well, because all the towers are in Aburi, but he doesn't make any money. You see, this business, when we begin it, the districts will have to make, be part and parcel of the revenue and out of it, and we call revenue sharing. So in South Africa, it started also there. In India today, one of our biggest projects they did, for our partners is called Jio. Jio, within 3 years, they've reached almost 380 million subscribers at 399 rupees. One of the major problems everybody's crying in Ghana now is that data is expensive. Data is expensive. Data is expensive because of the way it's being done. Most of the data that I see, majority of the major companies are for corporate, not for the individuals. Now, so they are not getting economic of scale. Our target for 2020 is about 1 million subscribers with 5,000 in every community. 1 million subscribers, divided by 260 or so districts gives you about 5,000 or so per each community. That gives you a huge economic of scale, which will allow data prices to come down very, very, very considerably. And those data we are actually, bringing, when we met the Joe Anochi first, me, I don't understand, and I'm not technical, so sometimes I read over knowledge and expertise. When we met the NCA first with the engineers to discuss this, one of his major worry was that there are no data capacity in Ghana. It's short. Data is short in Ghana. So it's one of the most qualified, technologies in Africa. He has all the high degrees, CCNA, CCIE, whatever it is. So we began that journey, went on Tenam, A1, and all of them. So today we are at a certain point which we are concluding to bring about 400 gig, capacity of data in Ghana for this project. And they're divided through the whole country.
So I mean, this your factory. Is it that you're not going to start? Or it's already started, or it's completed?
The factory building is ready. Everything is ready.
Equipment is in.
Equipment will be arriving, by first quarter next year. And now we are working. The engineers, both are working on space, cooling and all
allocations and all that.
All those technical things that are being done. Even this morning, we're working on it with engineers in Dubai, whatever, trying to get the ZAT.
So you'll be assembling televisions, mobile phones, laptops, and then tablets. And
also decoders and routers.
Right here in Ghana.
Yes.
Are we going to give it a local name?
Yeah.
Made in Ghana?
Yes, of course. You see, when you look at Apple, where you are holding, you see the design Cupertino manufactured in China. Here, it's going to be designed in Ghana, manufactured in Ghana.
So we have the gene kind of
everything
thing within it.
All the brand. I'm sure
so very soon, just like as Rwanda launched, they had a big fanfare saying that a mobile phone made in Rwanda. We will have a mobile phone made in Ghana.
I started this project some few years ago when we have a brand called K-Pad, K-Phone. We've been there, but the exigencies of Ghana at the time does not allow you to move to the next level. But this day we want to thank the Almighty God that we have reached this far, and it's happening, at this time, and everything surprisingly is under one roof, the university, and everybody just want to plug in there. It's surprising that Liberia went to the U.S. trying to get this, that they were referred to us. So we have proposal for Liberia already.
Oh, great.
We are going to Liberia, second week in January, Congo, DRC, South Africa. Everywhere that where is sent back here, because you see we have 54 countries in Africa. These companies who are consultant partners, Cisco, Google, they cannot be in all the 54 countries, and the places are so close. So with one area, like Silicon Valley, one place, the whole world is connected. With Seattle, the whole world is connected. So, at 25, you're going to have all these networks centered in one place and connect, to the to Africa and the whole.
So very soon we'll have the Ghana Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
right?
We have it already.
All right. So very finally, how many people are you looking to employ in this factory that you're looking at?
Okay, there are various stages, like the agreement that we signed, with Acquah-Hayford. One of the things they're going to do from January, we are going to, because of the past experiences, Ghanaian and our problem, but we don't have equity laws in Ghana. Which is one of the serious problems with the Ghanaian entrepreneurs, I'm sure Kusichum included. We do not have the trying to get exim. In the South Africa, for instance, Cyril Ramaphosa, when he pulled out to establish a black empowerment investment bank, under with the pension funds. So MTN and all those companies are owned through these structures. Through these structures, not individuals, as you are saying.
Yeah, sure.
So now what we are doing is that we are looking at about 10,000, or the initial offering and people in every district. So the infrastructure in every district, we are looking at about 10,000.
Okay.
And then through the franchises, also we'll probably be franchising almost every district, because we found out that through the report that there are passions for everybody who comes from wherever they come from.
Okay.
Those who have some little, money or little guarantees, we can begin that journey in their districts, so that we don't have to be like MTN or building everywhere. So we're going to, partner, which is the major norm today in all over the country. You see, like if you look at, another thing we are looking at is to increase the revenue base of Ghana. Vietnam today is sporting, knowledge base after the war to now almost about $20 to $30 billion worth of revenue, just IT, systems. So is India, so on. So we are going to get there to be able to provide this, collaboration with government and other regulatory, the World Bank or whoever is there.
And your devices that will be produced here will be affordable.
Of course, and we nobody buy devices anywhere in the world through subscription. You go to London, you go and sign up, and £20 a month for so many years. So the prohibition in Ghana again is the cash. You want to buy a laptop, 5,000 a day, 3,000 a day. I'm sure all the things I'm seeing here, they are all bought, but in somewhere else, multi-TV doesn't have to buy this. You go through some funding company like Acquah-Hayford yesterday. They'll provide it and through some arrangement, and then when it's finished, when it's old, you trade it in for a new one. So your capital base remains, and then you go by subscription.
Let me say thank you very much. We hope that this project would help employ more Ghanaians and will be bigger than what you think.
Thank you. Legacy.
All right. So we've been speaking to Dr. Prince Kofi Klugesen, who is the executive chairman, or will I say, the founder of Celtel Networks Limited. And he's been sharing more light as to what are the new things that has happened over the 1 year period that we spoke to him. He's been telling us about the company, the Smart Cities project, the fact that they are setting up a manufacturing plant here. They have profiled a number of the cities. They will start somewhere in the second quarter in Tema, and then move to Accra, and then move to wherever you find yourself. Thank you very much for watching.